What is up, everybody? This is iBreakCards, and welcome back to episode number 16 of Cardboard Talks. Today I've got my dog laying right here next to me in a swivel chair, so if you hear any jingling of the collar or yawns or anything like that, that's because she is right here with me, followed me downstairs to my room, and apparently wanted to sit in on this episode. So last week we talked a lot about the pros and cons of college products, and if you did not get to listen to that, and not a lot of people did because I can't blame you, not one of my favorite topics I've talked about in my opinion, but if you didn't get to listen to that and you want to, you can go back, stop this episode, and go ahead and listen to last week's. This week I was going to talk about scammers in the hobby. In fact, I had recorded an episode already, but I thought it would be a better idea to stop that right in its tracks and instead today talk about how Panini is no longer accepting expired redemptions. Now, this happened as a Twitter user basically contacted them saying, I have an expired redemption, what are you guys going to do to replace it or give me the card, etc. And they said, we are basically no longer allowing for expired redemptions to be redeemed. Now, of course, this is something that came as a shock to a lot of people. In fact, I asked you guys over on Twitter, I only put up a poll for about 2.5 hours. It got about 20 votes, and I said, so Panini is no longer accepting expired redemptions. I accidentally got auto-corrected to expired emotions. Nonetheless, I said, is this bad for the hobby? What are your guys' thoughts? And then everybody who voted knows basically that this is for this episode. Now, one person agreed that it was good for the hobby, one person agreed that they just simply don't buy Panini products, and 18 of the 20 said this is bad for the hobby, and I could not agree more. Now, a lot of people may not think this is a big deal simply because Topps already does this. They already don't do expired redemptions. But coming from somebody who likes a product from years ago, and if they get the chance to open it on sale, buys it and pulls out redemption, now all of a sudden it's worthless, unfortunately, even if it is expired, even though Panini would honor expired redemptions. So, this means different things for breakers. If an expired redemption is pulled, perhaps they're going to have to give that person maybe the amount of money that card was worth or something like that. Maybe they'll just say, if we pull an expired redemption, we'll random $5 to a team that gets selected. Who knows exactly what that may be, but I want to talk a lot about what this does and what this means for the both hobby community and for Panini themselves. So I'm going to start with saying that this will help Panini do more products like Honors. It makes it really simple to do this. Honors, if you don't know, is quite an expensive product that I've been wanting to open for years. But basically, Honors is they go out and they get base cards, more or less. They stamp them or hand sign them saying there's 1 of 10 or whatever, put it in a case with a seal. And that seal says Honors and the year, basically. And so with that, honestly, all they have to do is if a card doesn't get redeemed that was signed on the card, and it's not a sticker, then they can pass that off as a card that can go into that set. This is also another way that Panini can put in more Panini points into products, which I personally feel like only put in my hits. Even redemptions a while back were like, oh, I hate pulling these, but at the same time, it could be something huge. You never know what it could be. You never know. And so points is just that gross yellow color you pull, or green, or blue, or purple, or whatever it may be. And they very well could be using these cards that weren't redeemed to be bought with these Panini points. And if that is the case, Panini needs to do a lot of work on their app, or even put these Panini points with codes that they can be entered online for those points. I remember trying to scan my first Panini points. It was only 150 points. Or 250 points. It was the lowest you could get. And my app just would not scan and would not scan and would not scan. And it gave me the most amount of difficulty it should have. After trying for a week, I finally got it to scan, looking for 150 point items. They're few and far between, and if they're going to be decent enough, you may as well look at your own team so you know the players you're getting into. If that is the case, well, they obviously need to do some big work on that app, or like I said, at least put in a code on that card so you can type it in on the app or on their website. So that is just my thoughts on that. Also, I think that this will allow for Panini to have less problems with unfilled redemptions, sending cards what they deem are of equal value, and things like that. I personally don't like that they're not going to do expired redemptions anymore, but I honestly feel like if it's 5 years expired or a year expired, maybe it's not a big deal, but 5 years or 2+ could be a bigger deal than, 5, let's say. I think if your redemption is really good, you deserve to get the item, of a certain value. Or if it's, yep, there's a yawn. There's a yawn I warned you guys about. Or if it's only expired within a year or two, I think you should still be able to get it. But what about all these people who also have cards they've been waiting for maybe 10 years, like the Julio cards that took 8 years, his rookie year cards that took 8 years for him to autograph and for them to finally send out? There probably could have been times there where those people could have sold those cards and they were worth more than they have been in the last couple of years, as the Falcons have kind of been slowly declining since a few years back. Irregardless, I agree with 90% or 18 of the 20 people of my short survey that I did, and I agree that getting rid of redemptions, or maybe even they might continue to do redemptions and just not honor expired ones. Regardless, I think the fact that they are not going to honor expired redemptions is going to kind of hurt their business a little bit, but I don't see very much of a change. There has been no really official announcement, but really some of their Twitter company or Twitter people have said that they're no longer going to do expired redemptions. So we'll see what happens down the line. We'll see if a company-wide order is put out, or if this is just because of the pandemic going on in the world. Who really knows? But that is it for this week. Next week, maybe I'll talk about scammers and other things like that. If you guys have a comment down below of something you think is relevant that I should talk about next week, let me know. Otherwise, feel free to put down in the comments, what are some warning signs of a potential scammer? I have a few written down personally, and I think that we all just need a little help making sure we don't get ripped off, especially during these tough times where it's hard to make ends meet for some people, and no one, of course, deserves that. But that is it for me this week, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. I appreciate you all very, very much. I look forward to talking to you guys on Friday, where I basically talk to you guys about how I organized my entire collection, and there's more work to be done on that front. Thank you again, guys. I will talk to you all later.